Good morning friends, welcome to economic classes. Friends, in the last class we have discussed about the shapes of TP, AP and MP, which means the shapes of total product, marginal product and average product. In this today's class we are just moving towards some of the theories, some of the laws which are involved in the production. Either it may be the short term or it may be the long term. Okay, so today we just go through the short term laws, that is the law of variable proportions. The law of variable proportions. The law of variable proportions. What is this actually speaks about? The law which speaks about the variable factors, how they are going to influence on the productivity. Well, so that is how, if I come to the meaning point of this law of variable proportion, the law of variable proportion is the relationship between the proportion of fixed input and variable input on the one hand and on the other hand, that is output. Okay, so here this law of variable proportion is going to build the relationship between two things here. And what we are going, it is going to be building the relationship here means one hand, that is one side, the fixed inputs and variable inputs. On the one hand, what we are going to see, fixed inputs and variable inputs. On the other hand, output. Here, this law of variable proportion, which builds the relationship between the fixed inputs and the variable inputs on the one hand and output on the other hand. Okay, so here we are going to see the relationship, how there is a change in case of, usually we know that fixed inputs which are assumed as fixed, there is no change in the fixed factors of production, but we have to see only in case of change in the variable factors. So that is what we will take both together in this case, that is what fixed inputs as well as variable inputs and output on the other hand. Okay, so this is how this law is very important in case of production. Usually, friends, this law of variable proportion operates in the short-term period. So, as we already discussed about the short-term period, where this law of variable proportion usually takes place in between 1 to 5 years. As we know that short-term period is a period where the production process takes place in between 1 to 5 years. So that here this operates in 1 to 5 years, which means in the short-term period. Well, so come to the, what are the different stages are involved in case of this law of variable proportions. Well, stages. Okay, so before going to the stages, here as I already mentioned, the law of variable proportion is also called as law of diminishing marginal product. This law of variable proportion is also called as, I once write right here, that is LDMP. You may be asked the short law, that is what full form of this LDMP. Don't get confusion here. LDMP means law of diminishing marginal product. See, law of diminishing marginal product or the law of variable proportion, both are one and the same. Don't get confusion. Okay, LDMP. Well, so now we come to the stages. What are the different stages involved in this law of variable proportion? Friends, here we are going to see total 3 stages. One is increasing returns. The first one stage in this is increasing returns. The second one is that is diminishing returns. Diminishing returns. And the third one, that is negative returns. Third one, negative returns. Increasing returns, diminishing returns, and the last one, that is negative returns. Let us understand all these three stages by the use of schedule and diagram. Okay, so let me come with the schedule now. Well, we'll go with the schedule. First of all, we just go through with the number of different variables that we have to use here. You can take land, labor, capital like that. You can draw this may be land, capital, labor, total product, average product, and this is going to be marginal product. Okay. This I am going to write land, capital. This is going to be labor, and this is going to be TP, total product, and this is going to be AP, average product, and this is going to be MP, marginal product. Okay. So just assume that we are going to take land in case of acre. That is 1 acre, 1 acre. Okay. So capital point of view, it is in rupees. That I am going to take, it may be rupees 10,000. And labor 1. Okay. So imagine this is how we are going to have here. Okay. Coming to the second 1 acre of land. Just imagine 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so what I have taken 1 acre of land here. So as we have to see the 3 stages, so that I am deriving the table like this here. So coming to this 1,000 each, sorry 10,000 each. 10,000 is the capital. Okay, so land is 1 acre each, and whereas capital is 10,000 each. Why these two are? These two are fixed factors of production. Remember, as I already told in the meaning, so we are taking the fixed inputs and variable inputs. That is one side, and output on the other side. Okay. So these 3 columns which consist of fixed inputs and variable inputs. These two are the fixed inputs, where labor is the variable inputs, where these 3, that is what output. Okay. So labor I am going to change as it is variable factor which continuously changes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Here we are taking almost 7 labors for our production, from starting with 1 to 7. Well, come to the total product. So before going to the total product, so let us go for the marginal product, so that later we can calculate total product. Well, so assume that by the use of 1 acre of land, 10,000 of capital and 1 labor, that how the output that we are going to produce, for example here, 10 units. That how we are taking in the units, 10 units. Okay. After that, by the use of 1 acre of land, 10,000 and 2 labors, assume that we may get 20 units. And coming the same way, again we are assuming 1 acre of land and 10,000 of capital and 3 labors. Now the labors are increasing. Just assume 30 units. Right? The same way, as we come for the 4th labor, which continuously taking 1 acre of land, 10,000 and 4th labor, here something is happening, that now I assume 20 units and 1 acre of land, 10,000 of capital, 5 labors. The efficiency is reducing, and the 6th labor it is going to be 0, and for the last 7th labor it will be for -10. So if I just put it here, that's how we will make a that is what stages. This is the first stage. This is the second stage. So this is first stage. What is the first stage? That is increasing returns. Well, so this is second stage, that is diminishing. Diminishing returns. And the last one, negative returns. The last one is what? Negative returns. Negative returns. Okay. So after that, you just see. Now we have to find the total product. How do you find the total product? As we already know, summation MP. Summation MP. Firstly, only 10 is there. Add 10. So next one, 10 plus 20, it will be 30. 30 plus 30, it will be 60. 60 plus 20, it will be 80. 80 plus 10, 90. 90 plus 0, again 90. 90 minus 10, it will be 80. Well, so how do you find the average product? Average product, that formula we have already. So how do you find average product? So average product can be calculated TP divided by the labor, variable factors. So total product is 10, that is labor, the variable factor is 1. So 10 divided by 1, it will be again 10. So 30 divided by 2, it is 15. 60 divided by 3, it will be 20. 80 divided by 4, 20. 90 divided by 5, it is 80. So 90 divided by 6, it is 15. So 80 divided by 7, it is 11.42. 11.42. Well, this is how we have prepared the schedule now. This is the schedule. What actually it says the schedule here? As in the meaning itself, these two columns will show fixed inputs. You just observe the table here. So have you seen anything that it is changed in the land? No. Why? Because we have assumed that this is a fixed factor. So 1 acre of land up to the 7th labor. Coming to the second one, capital is also assumed as fixed. So for that, there is a 10,000 of capital assumed fixed. We are changing only in case of labor. So labor, that is increasing 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and up to 7. So due to here, what actually it tells the law of variable proportion, due to change only in the variable factors, that affects on the output. Okay, so that is how we are going to see in this schedule. So let us just see into the diagram. So I am going to derive the diagram here. OX axis, sorry, OY axis. This is OY axis, OX axis. Okay, diagram. This is x0. Well, so now you just see in case of total product, it is increasing from 10, 30, 60, 80 and coming to 90 and 80. Okay. So now what I start, assume that here it is 10, it is 10. So started it increasing and came to 90, 92 after that, 90 again, 90, 80. Because it is decreasing. Well, so in the same way, this is what here I can just say 90, exactly equal. So from this point, well, so now you just see where exactly it is 90, the marginal product is 0. As we already seen in the last topic, that is about the shapes of TP, AP and MP, what actually we saw. So there we have seen that when the total product is maximum, the marginal product becomes 0. See, here it is 90, that marginal product is 0. So for that reason, so now we just see that this is the total product curve as it moves 10, 30, 60 and it comes down. See, 10, that is what 30, 60, 80, 90, 80. Well, so this is how it moves. So later on we come to the average product here. Average product also you can just derive from the 10 itself. I am going to do like this. And the same way marginal product. Okay. Marginal product also. Yes. One more again. Right. So this is average product AP and this is marginal product. So as we know that here we take inputs. Here we take inputs, whereas we are going to take output. Right. So now in the diagram, what actually you can understand. So here three stages we have done. The first stages is 0 to this. I can just mention here. This is IRS. Okay. IRS, increasing returns. IR, I can just write IR. And this is DR. And this is NR. Well, IR, increasing returns, increasing returns. This is how the stage, all three are increasing. Look at this. PV is also increasing 10, 30, 60. Average product also increasing 10, 15, 20. Even marginal product also increasing 10, 20, 30. So this is what we are actually calling it as increasing returns. What actually it is going to happen in the increasing returns? Friends, in the increasing returns, so due to increase in the variable factors by keeping some of the factor as a constant. Well, we are discussing the first stage here, that is increasing returns. So by keeping certain factors as a fixed, here we have kept land and capital as a fixed. Okay, so by keeping land and capital as a fixed factors, we are changing only in the labor. So as increase in the labor from 1 to 3, the total product, average product and marginal product is also increasing. As increase in the variable factor, that is labor, and that affects to increase in the productivity or the output. This is what we are going to call increasing returns. And here in the first stage, all these three labors are effectively utilized. No labors are misused and they are not going to be beyond the control of the manager. So the manager is going to control all these three labors effectively, so that all these three are giving their best, and that made that increasing returns. The productivity in the marginal product, we are going to see it is increasing. So 10, 20, 30, where we are going to see in the marginal product there is a increasing returns. So for that reason, in the increasing returns, the manager or the producer is going to earn profit. So for that reason, we are going to call this as a increasing returns. Is that clear? So increasing return, what it actually does, by keeping certain factors as a fixed and changing in the variable factor, that increase in the variable factor leads to increase in the marginal product. Our focus is only in between, that is what labor and the marginal product. Change in the labor, how it affects on the marginal product, that actually we deal in the law of variable proportion. Well, so this is what increasing returns. Come to the second stage here. In the second stage, that is what DR, diminishing returns. In the diminishing returns, again we are keeping certain factors as constant. See, land again is kept as a constant, and even capital also kept as a constant. But what we actually changing? We are just changing in the labor. So labor again still it is increasing from 1 to 3 in the increasing returns. In the next stage, 4, 5, 6. Still we are increasing in the labors. We are increasing in the labors. Due to increase in the labors, just focus on the marginal product now. Due to increase in the labor, marginal product, now after the first stage, that is the increasing returns, we have moved towards the diminishing returns. So here 20, 10, 0, which means increase in the that is what labors does not give fruitfulness. Fruitfulness which indicates the employees what we are appointing one after one, they are not efficiently working. Due to that reason, they are misused. They are misuse of the time that made the marginal product to decline. That made the marginal product to decrease. That is what the marginal product is decreasing in the second stage. That is 20, 10 and 0. Okay. So this is how we are going to see diminishing marginal or utility. That is what in the title itself we already see LDMP. What LDMP? LDMP means law of diminishing marginality. Here from the second stage onwards, the marginal product goes on diminishes. Why actually it diminishes here? The reason is as over and above of the appointment or the employment of the laborers. The laborers what we have appointed one after the three laborers, these fourth labor, fifth labor and sixth labor, they are not efficiently utilized as the first three labors are utilized. You can just observe. So here the fourth labor may be contributing good, that is not 10 units, 20 units from the fourth labor. Okay, we can accept this efficiency. And coming to the fifth labor is contributing only 10, but no problem. However, it is at least he is contributing 10, that can also be accepted. So coming to the sixth labor is giving 0. Means he is simply coming to the production period, that is what environment, and simply is wasting his time. So which means sixth labor is contributing nothing, which means simply is wasting the time and which does not contribute anything towards the product. So that is how here the sixth labor is totally inefficient. where there is no control on sixth labor. It is suggested to the manufacturer or the manager to control this sixth labor, and I even suggest him that should not go for further appointment. If still they go for the employment of another labor, just see after the second stage we have to move towards the diminishing, that is what negative returns. So again in the negative returns also, by keeping 1 acre of land, 10,000 of capital as a fixed, and 1 labor we are increasing from 6 to 7. Due to increasing the labor to 7, however by 6th labor only we already see that there is no contribution by the 6th labor. Even after employment of the 7th labor, look at, we are incurring loss, where we have fallen in the negative zone. You can just see here in case of the negative returns, due to increase in 1 unit of a labor, total product is also decreasing from 90 to 80, average product is also decreasing from 50 to 11.42, and even marginal product is also decreasing to -10. -10, which indicates the manufacturer or the producer has lost his total control on the employee, so that the employee not only working himself and even he is also disturbing other workers, so that he leads to incur loss in case of the business. Okay, so due to that reason the 7th labor incurred -10, which indicates 10 units is the loss. If you would have produced the positive quantities, but in this case he has not produced any positive quantity, he led for the loss of 10 units, and this is what we are going to call negative returns. The same you can just check it out into the diagram, that where the marginal product curve has crossed the OX axis and fallen in the negative zone. Okay, so this is all below to this OX axis is going to be called as negative zone. Here in this point onwards, that is the marginal product curve fallen in the negative zone. If you just look at the diagrams, in the increasing returns, all three TP, AP, MP are going to increase due to the reason what? All these three are effectively or efficiently utilized. But coming to the diminishing returns, here total product may be constant here. Total product somewhat it is maybe it's somewhat constant, but coming to the next one, that is what average product is again diminishing, marginal product also diminishing. Okay, all these two are going to, both of these two are going to diminish. Coming to the negative returns in the last stage, almost all TP, AP and NP are diminishing, but usually the marginal product fallen on the negative zone, which indicates a manufacturer or the producer incurring huge loss, that is 10 units. If further still he appoints or if he is going to employment one more employee, that again leads for still more, for example -20. If he appoints the 8th one labor, it may be for -20 or -30 or -50. I don't know how much that it is going to occur as a loss. So it is better to suggest the manufacturer, the producer or the producing manager not to appoint the further employees. And what actually can does is here, that whatever the employees are not contributing good towards or positive towards the business should be corrected, should be controlled, should be motivated towards to produce positive units. Well, so this is what all about the law of variable proportions, right? So in the next class we discuss about the second one theory, which actually comes in the long run, long term period, that is what the law of returns to scale. Friends, this is the law of variable proportion, which actually operates in the short run period. Well, I hope you are clear with this without any doubts. So let us see in the next class. Until, thank you so much.